All right, here we go with this question. So first of all, as always, we read the question sentence first. What do we want? Again, the numbers don't matter until the story makes sense. So what is the total time for the trip? Okay, great. So I read that and clearly it says time, but it also says total time. So when I read total time, I'm going to assume that, hey, look, we might have a time frame over here and a time frame over there. But nonetheless, everybody, the word total means we will do what with all of the time periods that we are discussing? Yeah, we're adding. We're adding all the way. So to get total time, I'm going to add the time periods together. Add the times together. That's my plan. So before I can execute that plan, I clearly need to figure out what those time periods are. So here we go. It says a train travels a 168-mile route. For the first half of the distance, this is the rate. For the second half, there's the rate. Okay, let's think. Let's think, everybody. Because if we're talking about 168 miles, that is the entire route from point A all the way to the end. So, everyone, this is going to be the first point that I'll discuss. This is where a lot of folks might get confused on this one. Part 1. If I want to get the time for each part of the trip, well, let me go ahead and say time for part A and the time for part B. If I want to get those individual times, well, guess what? I need to find those individual rates and the individual distances. So let me share some insight with you. For the first part, everybody, I think we can all answer this one clearly. What is the rate for the first part of the trip? What is the rate that we're given? For the first half of the trip, we're given 42 miles an hour. Exactly. Again, first half travels 42 miles an hour. Perfect. So we'll do 42 mph. For part B of the trip, I'll go ahead and use green for that. So second half, it says we travel at 56 miles per hour. Okay, sounds good. So I'll have my rate equals 56 miles per hour. Now, let me show you the very subtle, very makeable mistake that a lot of people will make on this one. Here's the mistake. The mistake is thinking that the distances are 168 miles. They are not. They are not, everyone. Because guess what? It says, yeah, the route is 168 miles for sure. But what does it say here? The first half of the distance. And then for the second half. So guess what? If you felt like you were doing the right things and you just had the wrong distance, the reason you had the wrong distance is because you just need to divide it by 2. That way you get your first half and your second half. That was the issue. That was it. Everyone, 168 divided by 2, what's that going to give us? 168 divided by 2 gives us 84. Yeah. And if you don't believe me, no worries. You can do a little bit of, long division there. 2 into 168. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 84. So our distances for each part, 84 miles. That's the biggest problem, everybody. Again, the story matters more than the numbers. So, boom. Now that we're here, let's figure out the time for each. So, distance equals rate times time. So, we have 84 equals 42 times t. Everyone, when I divide both sides by 42 over here, what do we get? 84 divided by 42. How many times does 42 go into 84? Oh, yeah, that's going to be 2. Yep, there we are. So, boom, my first time period, that's going to be 2 hours. I'll go ahead and highlight that in green, save that for later, because we cancel out there and we get 2. Now, let's look at the other side over here, my friends. Boom, I'll go ahead and set up my distance, which is 84, equals my rate times time. From here, I'll go ahead, do the same thing I did on the left side. I'll divide both sides by 56. Right there and right there. Cool. So we cancel out on the right side, and now we just have to make a little bit of room to go ahead and do our long division for 56 going into 84. But everybody remind me, what am I going to do once I get this division and find the time? What am I going to do with the times again? Yeah, we're going to add them together. Exactly. So here we go. 56 going into 84. Let me make that just a little bigger. And here we are. 56 goes into 84 just once, because I know 50 times 2 is 100, so that's way out of line. So just 1 is enough. We'll subtract 56. We might need to do a little bit of borrowing, which is a little annoying, but that's okay. 14 minus 6 gives us 8. 7 minus 5 is 2. Perfect. Now what we'll do here is recognize that, hey, we're out of room, so we'll go ahead and place our decimal point, show that 0 that's always been there, and drop that 0 down. So now we have 280. 56 goes into 280. That's going to be a perfect 5 times, actually. The reason I know that is because 28 is half of 56. So it's going to be half of 10 once I drop that little 0. That's just a little mental math knowledge. You do not need to remember that. You are good. So I'll just show 56 times 5. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 3 is 28. So boom, we have that 5 right there in place, and we are set. 1.5 hours is that second part of the trip, but don't get cocky, don't get too confident, because we need to add those times together still. There we go. 2 hours plus 1.5 hours. That's going to give us the total time right over here being 3.5 hours. And there we are, everybody. That is answer choice D. That's how we get the correct answer.